How does one position the practice of craft in interior architecture today? Where does craft place itself in a world where digitized, mechanized fabrication is becoming more sophisticated and is highly in demand? What is the role of the craftsperson, and how is it changing in contemporary times? Who is a craftsperson? Who is a designer? What is the future of craft in interior architecture practices? Many such questions fueled the intent of the studio Craft Plus Future. The studio is an inquiry to envisage future directions that craft can lead to interior practices. It is a series that intends to develop how craft within the built environment can become a forerunner of design decision-making in the field of interior architecture and design.
Taking many of these discourses in detail, the studio Craft Plus Future lies at the intersection of craft production, interior practices, and design positions. It looks at the diverse pluralistic interior architecture practices and speculates on future directions that craft productions can lead to contemporary practices, by arguing the position of craft. The overall studio is divided into 4 modules where each student explores the contemporary position of craft, proposes a vision of the future, develops an individual design manifesto, and makes design propositions and craft prototypes. We began our journey with a series of research exercises where students examined over 300 current built interior architecture projects examining what role does craft play in the current interior architecture practices. Through grounded theory methodology, each student developed their own theoretical position and presented a series of arguments around it. This was later presented through a series of drawings indicating the position each of them had developed. In the next stage, each student closely examined and further collaborated with various craft practices. As a process, each of them visited craft workshops and industries of different scales, ranging from a single craftsperson-led workshop to a massive 200-plus craftspeople employed within an industry. During this phase, each of them worked with the craftspeople to ideate possible collaboration opportunities and produced a series of material explorations as junctions. These were their first hands-on experiments with material and their first encounters with the craftspeople. The next phase introduced them to the world of speculations and speculative futures. With a series of exercises and short workshops on futures wheel, what-if propositions, and speculative tools, each student ideated what the future could be. Each student developed a detailed futures wheel and detailed out a speculative idea of the future. Once an idea of the future was established, questions like, what is the role of design? What is the role of craft? Do they feature anywhere? Do they get impacted by the future? What is interior architecture? And many more were discussed and debated. This resulted in the development of their individual manifestos, a starting point of taking a position on all that was discussed before: the idea of craft, the idea of design, role of craftsperson, role of designer, propositions around future, idea of interior architecture, and so on. The manifesto became the genesis of what they think and speculate about the central question of the studio: what is the future of craft in interior architecture practices? The manifesto further gave an opportunity to develop their own independent design projects, which became a realization of their ideas. Each design project promises an inquiry into their speculated world, challenging the role of craft and its position in interior architecture practices. Each project features a series of design drawings along with an array of craft design prototypes, material samples, and plenty of stories from the craft workshops. Here is a quick glimpse into the projects. Imagine a craft headquarters in the Parliament building where the crafts community is planning a revolution to take on the highly industrialized world. What if the Make in India triggered a new craft movement, creating a new brand which celebrates the diversity of Indian craft practices? Imagine a craft museum becoming a window to the past and showcasing the things we lost on our way to globalization. With craft remaining as an only potential way to regain your senses, enroll in a school which is run by the craft community. Imagine a craft industry helping us reuse all the abandoned and destroyed materials to create a new resource bank. How about interacting with a craftsperson on a platform to engage in individual customization for your own space and leaving the mass-produced standardized products? Come celebrate creative chaos of making: no hierarchies, no roles, just everyone coming together to make things. What if in a post-apocalyptic world, all the craft objects find their way in a massive archive to guide humanity about the culture of the past and a way to rebuild the future? We hope these ideas trigger new thoughts around the future of craft and encourage us to think beyond the conventional role craft plays in interior architecture practices today.